What's going on, everybody? MVP Collectables back here again today with a very special review for everyone. Today I will be going over my non-spoilers review of the Zack Snyder Cut of Justice League. This movie was highly anticipated, years in the making, you could say. Fans, kept hammering, kept saying we want it. Finally, Warner Brothers and HBO Max said, "Fuck it, fine." So here we are. Last, I think it was November. Was it November or was it May? It may have been May. It was May. It wasn't November. It was May. Last May, Zack Snyder said, "Yes, we're doing it," and people were like, freaking out. Yay. We had to wait till March 18th to see it. I watched it at 2 a.m. I was up till about 6:15 watching the movie. So, and I can tell you, it is fucking fantastic. It is much better than the theatrical cut. It's better in almost every conceivable way. There's a couple things that the theatrical cut does better. I will go over them. I will go over them in more detail in my spoilers review. So I'm going to attempt to keep this review to under half an hour. My spoilers review will probably be several hours long. So do note this: I'm not be going over spoilers in this review. I'll give broad my why I like it without going into detail. But the spoilers review, I'm going to be going over individual characters. I'm going to be going over individual scenes. So if you have seen the movie and you want that review, I will be doing that, recording that on Sunday. So do note, come back for that. But also stay here and watch this review. I realized that all my hats are downstairs besides this one, so that's why I'm wearing this one. Normally I never wear this hat. I do sometimes, but not very often. But that's why. Oh. Okay. Well. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not doing a screen recording, so I'm getting things sent to my computer, and you guys can't even see it. Sorry about that. But let's get started. I'm gonna go over my overall thoughts just for a couple minutes. My overall thoughts are, it's better in almost every conceivable way. I really just loved a lot of this movie, and something that I will talk about in this first section is the time difference. Again, I'm gonna have to go back and watch the theatrical cut at some point just to really notice. But Barry Allen wasn't introduced until an hour into this movie. That's like absurd. Like, they don't rescue, like I just realized that might be a minor spoiler, so I won't go in depth about. I was gonna continue that train of thought, but it's a little bit of a spoiler, so I won't. But just know, I won't tell you the individual scenes, but just know that the time difference, but from this one to the theatrical, is just like in the theatrical, like things are boom 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 boom. You don't have time to breathe. You don't have time to just take a moment. One of my negatives is also about that, but about this film, it's just awesome. It's just so much better. And like when I first saw the theatrical cut of Justice League, I actually liked it. I gave it I think like a 7.5 out of 10. I did a review on my other channel. It's not up on this one, but that was actually the last review I ever did. But this movie's just so much better. Okay, so that's my overall thoughts. Basically, it's just better. I mean, I don't really have much else to say apart from it is better in almost every conceivable way. It is going to be my favorite DC film of the new of from Man of Steel onwards. Um, I don't really consider Joker in that because that's technically its own kind of thing. I probably I don't know if it's better than Joker. I mean, there's things in this movie that are definitely better than Joker, and then there's things in Joker, that it's almost impossible to compare the two. Is it? I thought I going into this, I'm like, okay, I don't think I'll be comparing it to the other DC films. I think I will probably be comparing it to my favorite films of all time. It's not up there. I got to admit, it's not gonna I was like, is it gonna compete with the Lord of the Rings, Return of the King? And it just doesn't. That's I don't really have a favorite movie of all time. If you just ask me, but if you'd force me to give you one, I go back and forth. I would probably say Return of the King Extended Edition, probably. I think that's the greatest achievement in cinematic history, so that's what I'd probably say. But it's kind of, I don't really have one definitive answer. Okay, we are now going to start off with my negatives about this film. Do forgive me, I do have a notes on my phone, so do forgive me about that. I will be looking down or at that, I guess. They could have, my first negative about this movie, they could have cut some of the stuff out. It was quite long and kind of sluggish in the beginning couple chapters. Certain things were great, but there's other things, and again, I almost gave a detail. There are certain things that doesn't really need to be in there, so they could have cut some of that stuff out. Another negative for me is that the final two chapters do feel rushed. They don't really take their time in the final couple chapters. And yes, I get the big battle. Yes, so they're not gonna take their time in a battle, of course. But it's a little bit rushed. The music, where some of the music was quite good, other music I wasn't a big fan of, and they also to me and to other people that might not be the case. To me, it seemed very dialed back. I don't know if that was a technical thing, but it would seem quite quiet. The music, the actual now there's the songs and then there's the music. I'll keep them. Some of the songs worked, some of the songs didn't. Some of the music worked, some of the music didn't. The whole Superman music, because the original Man of Steel theme is in this movie. Spoiler warning. That music worked. Every time that's on screen, it worked. Also, a negative is that the whole team's time together wasn't a lot. They didn't really meld too much. And that to me, and also I thought that some of the banter was better in the theatrical cut. And that goes back, and that just shows you Joss Whedon, and I'll say something in the middle of this, in this review, that'll get probably people pissed. But Joss Whedon's, in terms of his writing, dialogue, and humor, is great. Yes, the Joss Whedon cut is nowhere near as good as this movie. But some of the banter for this just seemed a little off to me. For this, that's all the negatives I have. They could have cut some stuff, but then also again they could have added stuff towards the end. So there's that. There's the music wasn't The music is okay. I'll give the overall music and score an okay in in this film. And the team didn't have a lot of time together. It kind of rushed towards the end a little bit, a little bit. Now we're gonna talk about my positives, and this could go on forever. That's why I have 20 minutes left, because the positives of this film, Jesus, I mean the biggest positive about this film is just the. It's not so much the added stuff, but it was the what the added stuff gave to us. We had, not only was it us a lot more character development, every single character that was in this movie, in the Snyder Cut, benefited more in the Snyder Cut. There's a couple that were close. There's a couple that were a lot more. It just I think every character benefited more in the Snyder Cut. Every single one. Some characters were in this movie that weren't in, so they benefited the most. The people that actually got to be in this movie now. But again, I'm not going to go over in depth the character arcs and the character moments. That will be in my spoiler review. But this movie added more heart. It also had time to breathe. In the theatrical cut, one of the biggest issues is it went boom, 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 boom. It never really slowed down. And last night I talked to one of my buddies, and I can't remember, but there's a scene in this movie in the theatrical cut that actually wasn't in the Snyder cut. And if I remember, that's the only time that I think it happens a couple times. But the scenes that are in the Snyder cut that aren't in the theatrical cut is like four more. I mean, it's also not just added scenes. It's added moments. It's scenes were extended. Like today, I watched on YouTube a side-by-side comparison of like a couple different scenes. One the theatrical cut, one the Snyder cut. And it's just like remember a look, an extra look, in the Snyder cut. 100% necessary? No. But it just adds more. There's so much more added stuff here. I literally have on here as one of my notes, more everything. And that's true. There was more pretty much everything. The fight scenes were much superior in this film compared to the theatrical cut. I mean, almost every single character in this movie is more badass. In this version, is more badass than the Snyder cut or than the theatrical cut. I mean, there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff. It's hard for me to put into, to really explain this. It's very difficult for me not to go into detail. This movie just had time to breathe and just continued to and the time difference, I can't even fathom. This isn't really a spoiler, but so again with the Flash thing, I looked and I'm pretty sure that he goes to Barry's thing at he recruits Barry an hour 8 minutes into the movie. I could have that wrong, but I think, and I'll double check tonight. I'm watching it again tonight. I'll double check again, but it's in the theatrical cut, that would have been maybe 20 minutes in, if not shorter. There's just I know I keep repeating myself, but I can't really. I mean, I really was a little bit blown away by the just the difference. Also, something that does quite bug me is that why did Warner Brothers fuck this up? I mean, the movie's dork, but it's light. It's the movie's lighter than BVS. I don't. It's it's also like a lot of people like it's a completely different movie. And yes, I will say it is a quite a different movie, but you could this movie is quite similar in the same aspect to the theatrical cut. The difference is if you I would have I really would have I think it would be kind of funny to get a cut down version of this movie. Of course, we won't. But and 4 hour Justice League movie, if any movie should be 4 hours, it's fucking Justice League, right? But I would kind of be interested. One, I'd be interested in a documentary about the overall journey of the film Justice League. That would be epic. It won't happen because there's no way Warner Brothers is going to sit down. Yeah, we kind of fucked it up. Like, they're not going to do that. Besides, you would probably need to get interviews from people that are no longer at the company, and they're not going to do that. So, yeah. Also, this is something that, this is one of the big misconceptions with the theatrical cut of Justice League. A lot of people blame Joss Whedon. Probably 70%, if not more. Now, I'm going to set aside his behavior on the set of Justice League because that's unexcusable. I'm not trying to make an excuse for that. But that set aside, that's ridiculous. Shouldn't happen. That set aside, think of it like this. Yeah, hey, Josh. Yeah, okay. Can you come in and we write several scenes for this movie, and we film it, or go back and film a lot of new stuff, change it all up. The film cannot be over 2 hours, and we're not gonna push the release date. There might be 5 directors in Hollywood that can do that and give us a somewhat decent film. Like, what he did was crazy difficult. Now, some of the stuff that was in there, some of the stuff he did, I did not like. I'm just trying to say what he actually achieved was very difficult. And I don't think he deserves the flack he gets. The people that deserve the flack is fucking Warner Brothers. They're the ones that fucked it up. Yes, certain elements that Joss Whedon brought to it, no. Like the Batman stuff and the humor and that kind of, no. That, certain, aspects. But people should really blame Warner Brothers is the real people that are at fault about this. I mean, it was bad. Again, why exactly would you change it? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Sorry. But it really bugs me. Back again, we're gonna now circle back to the Snyder Cut itself. it's I know I haven't really talked about much and I keep repeating myself and I do apologize, but I'm trying to avoid spoilers. It's hard for me to avoid spoilers. What I'm I mean, it's just so hard. I mean, to express how just I was just like I was just watching it and I was like, wow. The one thing now, a couple things that I think one of the things that I really like to my one of my favorite parts about the theatrical Justice League was the intro, the title, the song, "Everything Goes" or something. I thought that's one of the things I liked more about the theatrical cut than I did about this. Now saying that, yes, but also the introduction to this one where they actually give you a story, like Superman's death woke up them mother boxes. That I do really like that. Also, the intro is from that to then the directed by Zack Snyder. It's like I swear it's like 10 minutes long. I could be wrong, but it's like, wow, is this still going? It was like one name, 5 seconds, another name, 5 seconds, another name, 5 seconds. It was quite long, and those are the things that they could have tightened up. Like, there's a lot of things. This movie, this movie, well, it's quite decent at 4 hours, and of course, I love it because it's a fucking 4 hour Justice League movie. Justice League is my fucking shit. Like, it's like, I mean, I have thousands of dollars of Justice League merchandise. Thousands. I mean, a lot of that is in statues, but even behind me, I mean, she's not really, Starfire is not really, I mean, she's a Teen Titan, but I mean, that, you can consider that a Justice League enemy. I mean, thousands of dollars. I mean, t-shirts, sweatshirts, you name it. Justice League is the shit. And I was so, once I found out that they were doing a Snyder Cut, I was just, and again, I saw the theatrical Justice League. The Justice League theatrical cut was my most anticipated film of all time. As of May 2020, that changed to Justice League. Now, I have no idea what my most anticipated film is. I couldn't even tell you my most anticipated film of this year. I mean, if I had to, I don't know. Suicide Squad, maybe. I would probably give it to Suicide Squad or the Suicide Squad. I just it's hard for me to come up with things to say, and I know I took notes and I should be talking about the movie. The stuff, the Themyscira stuff was better. Added stuff there. They added stuff with Atlantis. Some of the Atlantis stuff was cool. There was a plot, like the biggest plot hole of the movie, at least for me, at least that I've noticed, is in one of those scenes. I'll talk about that in my spoilers review. But then again, this also isn't really canon, and you don't really, you can really kind of gloss over it because it's, like this movie doesn't really, this movie's like, fans, here you go. Okay, now, also, we're not gonna get a Justice League 2. There was a much better chance that we would ever see the Snyder Cut, which I said we probably were never going to get, compared to a Justice League 2. Why is that? The Snyder Cut was shot. They shot that movie for $300 million, or like $285 million. They spent a year over in London, or Zack Snyder did. The cast itself, I don't think, did. To put in perspective, Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War didn't take 2 years to film. So like this film, so like those, like this, like for this one film. Also, this movie, this you could have made Justice League 1 and Justice League 2 into a trilogy, into 3 movies. This movie should have been 2 movies. I think. I think they could have ended. I think this movie could have ended with. I don't know if I can say this in my non-spoilers review. This movie could have ended with someone showing up, or invading is all I'll say, and then someone's death could have happened a little bit earlier, but whatever. In the second one, you know what I mean? I won't give this movie a rating because my 10 out of 10 or my rating scale is going to be different from everybody else's. It just is. I don't give movies 10 out of 10. There's only like because a movie, in order to be 10 out of 10, would have to be perfect. And there's no such thing as a perfect movie. Like, Return of the King Extended Edition is like a 9.8. That's the closest you ever, I'm at probably ever going to give. The Dark Knight's like a 9.5. So to put that into perspective, and those are like my 2 favorite movies ever. Does this movie eclipse The Dark Knight? That's, oh God. Which if it does, then I'm like, fuck. Well, then this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I really don't think you can compare them. You can compare this film to Endgame. You can compare this film to Infinity War. Comparing this film to Joker, to The Dark Knight, to Batman Begins, to Iron Man, it's very difficult to do that. Comparing this film to BVS, you can do a little bit more. 1, it's the same universe. 2, there's a decent amount of characters in that. This movie is my favorite DC EU film, the Snyder version. Again, I'm not going to give it a rating because it's different for everyone else. It would be in the 9s. But I'm just not going to tell you exactly because a lot of people's rating scales are different. Just letting you guys, I fucking love this movie. I mean, they added so much more. There's so much more character. There's so much more heart. Yes, there's negatives. Some people are saying there's nothing negative about this film. To me, that's basically impossible. To have nothing negative about a film. It's almost impossible. Guys, if you live in the United States, get HBO Max. Watch this movie. Take breaks if you... And that's another thing. It's great because you can... They're breaking down into chapters. So you can take breaks. And that's the exact size. Like, guys, that's one of the reasons I did it, was for you to get up, go to the bathroom, go get a snack, go get treats, something. That's what he said. He said it multiple times. So, is it long? Yes. Does it need to be this long? Does any movie ever need to be that amount of length? Need to? No. Is it awesome? Yes. It is sensational. Also, really wrapping this up, please release this on physical media. They've announced other countries are getting it in the physical media. I think here we're going to have to wait probably a good year. But please, pretty please, release this. Warner Brothers, I am begging you. Warner Brothers, AT&T, physical media department, someone, if they are releasing it around the world, and they're releasing it in other countries in like a month and a half. So come on, please, release it in the United States. I'm begging you. Okay, guys, this was a fantastic movie. Please stay tuned for my Snyder Cut, Justice League Snyder Cut spoilers review, which I will go multiple hours. Too long. Until my next video, guys, go wild, go Twins, Skol Vikings, and bye-bye.